So back onto taxes.
Okay.
Do you support the use of a wheel tax to support the RUTS program?
The RUTS program is a very good program in that this is a way for us to really provide a transition from rural areas into urban areas in terms of our roads infrastructure. Yes, in answer to your question, I would support a wheel tax that would go into the county, because currently the wheel tax only applies to the city. The folks that live in the county primarily use the city streets. So this would is really a matter of fairness, that we all pay wheel taxes for the streets that we use. The transition will certainly benefit the people in the county in that they will find it much easier to get into the city rather than, or get around the city rather than having to drive through the city streets, which we know are pretty crowded. The RUTS program, the way that it's designed, is so that instead of having the county build a road straight up down the center, paving straight down the center of a roadway, in fact what we have is room for a turning lane, and we actually have pavement on either side, and then areas off to the side where we have shoulders, and then we have our businesses or homes or whatever, so that there really is room for expansion with those roads, rather than if they go up the middle and that's it for the road. That means that when the city takes over that property, when they annex that property, they're going to have to bust up that road and redo the whole thing all over again. So the RUTS program is really designed so that it's this transition for the county to start on the road project, and for the city then to pick that up.
That also sounds like it would improve potential flooding out in the area because you have more drainage ability with
Right,
that.
right, absolutely.
So, which obviously is in Lancaster County a fairly large problem.
It is.
How we are.
We notice that every time it starts raining hard.
Yes. Do you support the expansion of the Lancaster Event Center?
You know, I think that we need to take a look at the Event Center. That's one of the areas where I'm most concerned that we have seen a lack of leadership on the part of this board. Had the County Commission really shown some good leadership early on, I don't know that we would have had the problem that we've had between the Ag Society Board and the County Board. I think that we may not even have gotten to the point where we've gotten now, that the county fair, the state fair has left Lancaster County and gone out to Grand Island. So I would like to see the county board take more leadership in that area. I am concerned that we're talking about building two different arenas in town right now, and again, I think our economic situation nationally plays into that. Is this something we really need? Let's look at those two venues and see, are we talking about having the same kinds of entertainers and shows and so forth at both arenas, or are we in fact talking about two different things and they would complement each other? I don't know. I think we need to take a look at that. One of the things that I would really like to do in terms of taxes generally, but this is a good example of that, is to take a look at how we're spending our tax dollars, not only from the county, but also from the city, the education funds that we have, Lincoln Public Schools, and all of the taxing entities that are part of Lancaster County taxes. Let's have the folks that levy those taxes all come into the same room along with citizens and talk about how do we want our county to look 10 years, 15 years, 20 years from now. What do we want our city to look like? What does that mean in terms of a vision for our county? We can come to agreement, I think, on a joint vision. This is something that I've worked on with my strategic planning background and my organizational design background. We can develop a joint vision that's something that we can all agree on. From there, we can then start talking about what are our values as a community. If we know what our values are and we know what our vision is, we can come up with funding priorities that we think that we need to follow, and that becomes a roadmap then for our budgeting, the city's budgeting, also education, and all of the various municipalities that have funding abilities as well, or taxing abilities, I should say. And all of those groups then will be on the same page and talking about doing the same kinds of things. What that does is it allows for joint funding in many cases on many projects. It means that we'll have less duplication going on because we'll know who's doing what and know that this entity doesn't need to be doing exactly the same thing as this entity. And then we can also much more readily identify those areas where we have holes in our system. What do we need to put in here so that we can create a linkage between other services, for instance? So I think that the Lancaster County Events Center is a really good example of where we need leadership in this county. And that's the kind of leadership that I want to bring into the county, is by using technologies such as the ones that I just described for our budgeting process.
That sounds very good.
Thanks.